everyone, welcome to another episode of Sideline Banter, brought to you by Women of Fantasy Football. I am Sam Holt, joined by my co-host, Derek Tate. Tate, how the hell are you this lovely Tuesday?
I think my Tuesday night's a little bit less stressful than yours because you've got some travel plans on the horizon. Me, I just get to sit back and talk about football tonight.
Yes. I'm very excited. I'm going to be traveling this week. I'm going to go finally see my niece. Cannot wait to meet her in person and hold her. It's going to be a wonderful, wonderful week. But we do have a few little moments of football news to start us off before we do a deep dive on the AFC East. We've been breaking down each division, and we've covered everything NFC, so we are breaking into the AFC if you are joining us now. And of course, we love it when you guys throw random comments in the chat, have any questions about your dynasty, maybe you're going through some trades. I've got lots of trades that I can also bring up to Tate if you're feeling like talking trades later. But guys, thank you for tuning in. We will be bringing you plenty of fun. Let's go right off the bat with some real fun for Jackson Smith and Jigba. Per Adam Schefter, he has signed a 4-year, $168.6 million extension with the Seattle Seahawks. That includes $120 million in guarantees, making him the highest paid wide receiver. Tate, this is a well-deserved contract, I believe.
Yeah, I would say so. He was the driving force of that offense for the majority of the season, had a breakout year, and is in the conversation for wide receiver one, and he's got wide receiver one money. Makes a lot of sense to me.
It makes sense when those two things match, right? When they have the top performance and they have the top contract, you love to see it. I mean, you watch what he did this last season, to your point, and you're just like, absolutely. It's kind of a no-brainer. I think the only questions when you're going into this year's draft in terms of where you're ranking him is he did lose his offensive coordinator. So I think that's the only peg that kind of gets taken out of the board for JSN in my book.
Yeah, we've seen, but here's the encouraging thing. We've seen him get better and more productive every single year of his NFL career. Obviously, his rookie season was kind of quiet, given that he was, right there in the mix, like wide receiver 3, alongside DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, and then emerged and kind of established himself as the alpha in that room, even with those two other talented receivers that they felt comfortable enough to part ways, and then, basically focus the passing offense completely around him, and he delivered over 1,700 yards, Sam, and 10 scores. It's a real deal.
Real deal. And a lot of similar things in this offense going to next season. So probably going to see a lot of the same. Curious to see what they do with running back position, though, obviously knowing that they don't have Kenneth Walker, but, they re-signed Rashid Shaheed. They still have Cooper Kupp there. I believe that each of the tight ends also got a nice little bonus to bring them back too. So, Jake Bobo posted that he's obviously going to be back. The receiver, AJ Barners, did amazing his rookie year. I think there's going to be a lot of consistency in terms of who we expect to be big and leading in the passing game. But I'm just really curious to see how they round this out at the running back position, because though Zach Charbonnet had some great work, I think they need to continue to look to address that position.
Oh, 100%. I don't think you can count on Zach Charbonnet being ready for week 1. So, and certainly even if he is ready for week 1, is he ready to handle a, full bell cow feature back type role right out the gate? Whether it's, Kenny McIntosh or anybody else that's on the roster. I imagine the Seattle Seahawks are going to address the position in the NFL draft, but they've got their number 1 wide receiver. So Sam Darnold, a very happy man.
Absolutely. Now, this one I'm really excited to talk about because there was, I think, a video that went viral last year during draft season when someone took the wrong B. Robinson in their draft. Well, that's going to be more of a problem going into this season because the Falcons have actually signed Brian Robinson Jr. as the backup to Bijan Robinson. So those that have sticker boards, be cautious.
The Falcons are just trying to troll fantasy football fans.
They 100%. This is such a fantasy football, like, just cue the drama now. Like, everyone needs to be over prepared. And when you're looking at these stickers, you got to look for the junior at the end. It's going to be the just the little one.
I'm going to ask, have you ever had that happen, made that mistake in any sort of draft where you drafted the wrong player with obviously similar name and how it looks with first letter and then same last name?
I've never done it, although I am definitely a fan of the show The League and Tim Brady motherfuckers for the win. Let's go. I mean, why not? No, I have never done it myself. I would be gutted, absolutely gutted if that was my mistake. I'm really hoping that since we're making so much fun of it right now, that this is just the cautionary before the storm, so no one else makes that mistake going into this season.
I think it's definitely more likely to happen with stickers than it is with.
It's gonna be a sticker issue, 100%. It's gonna happen again. I just watched the video again today, and I was like, that was a good time. Especially this video, the way that the confidence of when you go up, you put the sticker and you just hit it one more time, and it's just, and then you watch this man's soul leave his body as his friends are dying laughing, and you're like,
Shang Tsung somewhere nearby. Your soul is mine.
Yeah, it's just
your entire fantasy football buy-in is mine as well after making that type of egregious mistake.
Yes, I mean, just absolutely egregious. Let's see. Less exciting news, but it happened. Joe Flacco did re-sign with the Bengals for one more season. I'm just waiting for the news that he signs with the Steelers, though, just to complete the infinity gauntlet of stones that he's gone through the entire division.
Well, it's never too late. Clearly, the Pittsburgh Steelers are not against signing 40-year-old quarterbacks in recent history. So, Flacco still has one more chance somewhere down the road, maybe. And no longer is Mike Tomlin going to be able to throw shade at anybody for the Browns trading him to a division rival, if that does happen again this season.
100%. When I turn 40, I'm going to write a very strongly worded letter for my argument as to why they should sign me for like a one-day deal, just because, I could be a one-day quarterback in just the locker room. Give
your
some
cover
good
letter?
Pep talks.
Have you been working on your cover letter for a while for this?
No. I think the beginning is please and just because I want it. That's just how it goes. Gosh. One last piece of quarterback news. Thanks. I'm guessing Josh put this in here just so that I'd read it because I am Ron Burgundy and I will read it if it's in the chat. So thanks, Josh, behind the scenes. Saying, breaking, Saints have signed Zach Wilson just because. Thanks for this, Josh. I appreciate it. Exciting.
Hey, not Mr. Really. Wilson. Yeah, this is always exciting to find out that Zach Wilson's NFL career continues. So
it continues. So yay.
All of these other quarterbacks that were drafted in the top 10 seem to be having redemption arcs. Zach Wilson's has stayed pretty consistent. So,
yeah. Well, maybe he'll have some fun there in the Big Easy. Gotta ask, though, did you catch any of Team USA flag football this past weekend?
I did.
How did you like it? Because I feel like I was so happy to see Team USA absolutely dominate the rest of the professional players, because I think there was too many overconfident NFL players that are saying, like, I can go win an Olympic medal. I can do this. But when you watch the flexibility and agility of these seasoned flag football players, it was impressive to me.
Well, it's a different game.
It is. It's 100% different. And it's not apples and apples. It's very different.
No, agility is king. Agility and acceleration is king. And when you're first off, Sam, though, I will say, I don't know exactly that we had 100% effort level from the NFL guys, which, by the way, Joe Burrow hit the deck a couple of times. I'm sure every Cincinnati Bengals fan was sitting there holding their breath like, oh my God, why is he taking contact of any sort? I know. It's a big thing here in the Washington, D.C. area that Jaden Daniels went to this thing and he was out there running routes, and, local media is blowing up about why is he doing this? Why is he risking injury? I will say, look, what do you think that NFL players, active NFL players, are doing with their spare time when they're training? Do you not think that they're running? Do you not think that they're throwing the ball? Do you not think that they're lifting weights? Like, I get that it's competition and somebody could land on your leg a specific way. I get it. It is a little bit added risk, but
sure,
come on, let these guys have fun. They're playing the sport that they love, and to be honest with you, I did find it kind of captivating that Team USA dog walked a lot of NFL players.
I know. That to me was the biggest most fun thing to watch. Just again, the agility, the speed, watching some of them do these back bends where you're like, in the NFL, that's an ACL, that's a broken ankle, that's an Achilles, that's everything. You're just thinking of all the injuries that they're getting. But these players are they're built different because to every point that you just said, this is a very different game. So it was really fun to watch. I did also think it was pretty hilarious how quickly, once Tom Brady had the ball in his hand and sent that first pass, that everyone's like, he's still got it. Put the pads back on, dude. What are we doing? Like, what are we even doing here?
Of course he does. Tom's going to be able to do this at 55 if he wants to.
Yeah, because he doesn't eat any sugar and he's like energy by avocados. Like, of course, he's still going to look good and he's still going to look healthy.
He should really have the Phillip Rivers comeback plan, though, which is like just if an injury strikes at the quarterback position. But I mean, he's also a part owner of the Raiders.
He's a part owner. So realistically, could he even come in unless he signed for like in mid-season with the Raiders? Like, is there anything else that would work?
Probably not.
Like, where's the fine print? Where are the rules?
I don't know, and I'm certainly have not consulted with anybody legally reviewing the bylaws of, being a part owner of an NFL franchise and then being a player. But I'll say this: Tom Brady's little hip swivel before he threw the dime to Diggs, of all the, Shakira, the hips don't lie of Team USA being able to avoid flagpoles, which was awesome, and it's kind of its own artistry in its own way. It was still really cool to see Tom Brady just kind of slide the hips and then uncork a 30-yard missile to the back of the end zone with pinpoint accuracy.
It's just never gonna get old seeing him just do what he does. But
didn't Gronk pull a hamstring on the subsequent extra point attempt where he caught it and then his legs
probably
split?
Well, when Gronk get excited, Gronk don't know how to ease into a move. Gronk must stretch more. He's got to protect himself. All right, but that'll do it for NFL news. Let's jump right into the AFC East division preview that we've got. We have got some fun teams to talk about and some not so fun. So let's start with the fun. Let's talk about the Super Bowl runner-ups, the New England Patriots. They had a hell of a run last season, and they have done nothing but make signings in this offseason in order to continue to push forward. I think the one player or at least one position I was hoping we would have a veteran signing to talk about would be at the wide receiver position, because they did sign Romeo Doubs from the Packers. However, there's just been so many rumors about AJ Brown and the price tag being set at what it is, and then them saying we're not going to be trading him yet. I feel like it's going to end up happening, right? AJ Brown's going to end up a New England Patriot before the trade deadline during the season, or they're going to have to address this with another veteran talent, because obviously Diggs isn't going to be re-signed. He's got his own off-field issues he needs to be dealing with. How do they continue to address this position? Because they need to get somebody for May.
So first off, Romeo Doubs. I am okay with this signing. Now, do I think that they probably overpaid? Probably, because...
But what is money when it's monopoly money?
Correct. So 55 receptions, over 700 yards, and 6 scores, wide receiver 37 last year with Jordan Love. Romeo Doubs, I expect that that's what's going to be kind of his floor, because that's what's been his floor and his ceiling his entire NFL career. And, when you can't emerge as like the clear-cut definitive number one there in Green Bay, then, you're probably going to get more of the same. Still very good quarterback play, and he'll be certainly involved, outside perimeter receiver. But, could this offense use a little bit more talent and juice out on the perimeter? Of course. If you can. I did see a report, and maybe I don't want to cite it because I don't know if it's 100%, but if the price that was already offered for AJ Brown is a first and a third, I'm curious if that price will hold, because I know that there are some financials that go into it, Sam, when it comes to trading AJ Brown right now, as opposed to waiting until after June 1st, which seems like it would save the Eagles, I think, $20 million in some capacity, whether it's on the cap this year or, at some point. The point of the matter is, though, if that deal doesn't, you can't bank on that deal. So I'm kind of looking towards the NFL draft as they have to at least bring somebody in the building to pair with Romeo Doubs to join the rest of that receiver room, because you can't count on the Eagles automatically dealing you A.J. Brown, because if that wasn't enough, I think you're playing with fire if that's your plan A.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm really curious to see what they do, because yes, I mean, Doubs is a nice signing. I feel like he's, shown flashes there in Green Bay, but he is not, oh my gosh, they've got their wide receiver one. That was not my first reaction when I saw the news come in. So I'm still waiting for that to happen, whether it's AJ Brown or not. And I know that Josh is here and wishing that it's not, saying AJ Brown is going nowhere. I can see your Eagles hat from here, Josh. I get it. We want to hold on to all of our, again, Infinity Stones. We want to keep them close. However, I do feel like there ends up being some level of a move. Plus, we've definitely seen a lot of trades go down mid-draft. So I'm also curious to see if this is something where we see news come in, whether it's AJ Brown or another veteran wide receiver or somewhere else, where two teams trade, because there are so many QB hungry teams that are looking for firsts for next year, that if there is some moving up and back in draft picks this year that also go with a first for next year, I could kind of see it.
I want to raise my hand. If we're putting on the tinfoil hat and
it's the off season. It's fourth. That's what it's for.
Potential trade speculation. I'll touch on it real quick. Mm-hmm. There's a team that doesn't have a first this year that has also kind of put out there that they have a receiver that they're interested and have been, speculated about trading, and that's Brian Thomas Jr. of the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, I mean, Brian Thomas Jr., what he did as a rookie, that to me is not a mistake. This guy has all the physical tools and certainly would be an excellent vertical weapon for a quarterback like Drake Maye that has a very live arm and can make any NFL throw imaginable. So if I would rather give up draft capital to go get Brian Thomas Jr., who's still on a rookie contract, and that you can build for the long term with Drake Maye, that to me is a little bit more appealing, but it's in the same division, the same conference, and the Jags, were in the playoffs and damn near could have beat the Buffalo Bills in the wild card round and probably felt like they had a legitimate shot to get to the Super Bowl. So, do you want to strengthen the team that just represented the AFC by trading a receiver and a talent like Brian Thomas to them?
It's not a bad thought, though, because I could imagine them also picking up a wide receiver from this class this year and then saying, Jacoby Myers did so well for us. We do have some interesting depth surrounding that position that we could be a little risky and we could make a move here. I don't know. I kind of like it. Also, I kind of feel like we should make tinfoil hats for when you have these ideas that we put on.
If we're talking receiver, though, in the draft, Denzel Boston is a name to keep an eye on, not just because Boston, you get it. But it is a guy that probably has the type of, I think, prospect profile that could be a first-round pick. So I could certainly see him being somebody that gets targeted at the end of the first. But, Sam, really, the rest of this Patriots offense, it's hard to believe they had two running backs finish as top 25 fantasy position finishers at running back last year, with both Travion Henderson at running back 21 and Stevenson at running back 25. Sam, Stevenson was still heavily involved, particularly in the playoffs. So,
yeah,
what is your feeling about this backfield? Because Travion Henderson flashed some of that big playability. I think he averaged 5.1 yards per carry, but a lot of that was fluffed up by a couple of massive explosive plays, some of which it took place against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but I digress.
Is that why you remember it so clearly?
Oh yeah, it's in there. By the way, RIP to respect, not RIP, but respect to Lavonte David, who just announced his retirement today from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Great, legendary career, future Hall of Famer. Thank you for all the great years and all the great memories. But that did happen against the Bucs. Henderson is an explosive back. Ramondre Stevenson, obviously still a very competent, reliable, and somebody the coaching staff clearly trusts. So how do you navigate this backfield in fantasy drafts for this year?
I think what you take away is the level of confidence that this backfield had last year and what they were able to do and build on. And you just continue to build on it because Stevenson, though he's a veteran, still, like you said, those tires have a lot of tread left on them, and he's looked fantastic. And the moments that Henderson had were great. He's so young. Continue to build off of this. Put more weight on your running backs, and maybe that's something that they end up doing, where they kind of continue to 1-2 punch these running backs, and maybe use Henderson a little bit more in the passing game, depending on how they address the wide receiver position. I could see them doing that as well. Both of these backs are so versatile. I just imagine them having continued success to build on what they already started last year.
Well, I will say the encouraging sign for TreVeyon Henderson is, while it was incredibly frustrating and concerning, mostly for dynasty managers, through the first, 7 weeks of the season where
I was mad.
He only saw 10 plus carries one time. Once we got to week 8 and beyond, there was only one game where he didn't have double-digit carries. So they clearly got him more involved, a rookie, as the season progressed, and he certainly rewarded them with some explosive plays and kind of flashing the ability that we all saw and believed that he could have out of Ohio State. So I'm still definitely drafting TreVeyon Henderson. I'm prioritizing him in fantasy drafts. I don't know if I see a scenario where Ramondre Stevenson is completely phased out of this offense in 2026.
No, I don't. And I don't know that that's something that I'd predict or necessarily want to see either. I mean, I think that there's a lot of success to be had with two-back offenses. I mean, obviously, we know that David Montgomery is no longer with the Lions there, but when he was there, and with Jahmyr Gibbs, they were an amazing 1-2 punch where fantasy managers feasted on both of their points in different weeks. Definitely some, skyrocketed more than others, but there was certainly plenty to be had. And I can imagine that Vrabel would want to continue to lean on how successful this run game was this season and say, we did this really well, build, get better, improve. Let's give them more opportunities, because these guys were able to, take all that responsibility, shoulder it into the Super Bowl, and just imagine us trying to repeat it going into this season. So for me, I feel like this is just a big gold star level of confidence of this worked great, keep going. And this is a team situation where there's going to be a lot of similar pieces going into next season. So you don't have to necessarily retool, rebuild, reshape. This is, year 2 of what was already looking good, gonna look better.
Speaking of already looked good, possibly going to look better. Drake Maye, Sam, breakout year, quarterback 2 in fantasy football, 35 total touchdowns. And that was with Stephon Diggs as the number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Do we see a better version of Drake Maye, or does possibly a harder schedule, the question marks about a true number 1 wide receiver, and maybe just, maybe a little bit of a slump after a year where he overachieved in many people's eyes? Or do you kind of just think he's, baby Josh Allen?
I don't know that he's baby Josh Allen, but I definitely feel like we see them continue to build off of the success they had this last year. There's going to be plenty of teams that now understand what the Patriots are doing better and are going to scheme for it and plan for it. But I think that Coach Vrabel understands what to do with his young quarterback to keep him developing and gaining success from season to season. We're not going to see the exact same Drake Maye that we did last year. We're going to see one that's trying different things. It's trying to outsmart teams that are planning for what they saw last year. I feel like we're going to continue to build on it. I don't necessarily see him sliding, because I am a Steelers fan and I know better than to bet against the Patriots, and especially after a season where they had so much success. So I'm not going to sit back here and say, oh, one more year, it's same thing, but nothing going to be new. I think we're going to continue to see new and different things and new creative things, because this team just, again, we're able to do so much this season. And it's like, great, we did that. What's the next level we can take this to? And I think that Vrabel is definitely one of those coaches that he's not going to be sitting idly by and just want to rerun the same scheme he did last year.
I am a little bit concerned about the schedule difficulty jumping up a little bit, but I think Drake Maye is the real deal. He just needs to really cut down on holding the ball a little bit too long. He took a lot of sacks in the playoffs, Sam, once the defense. Now, he faced a bunch of tough defenses, so I'm not trying to throw shit at him. But, maybe that does expose one portion of his game. He was sacked even by Myles Garrett 5 times in one game against the hapless Cleveland Browns last season. So I think that's one portion of his game that, maybe getting the ball out of his hands a little bit quicker would be something that I think could help with his keep him upright, keep him healthy, and certainly cut down on some of the opportunities for him to put the ball in harm's way. So, but ultimately, I still got Drake Maye as a top 5 fantasy quarterback in 2026.
No, Sam, I don't want to be the first to knock him down any pegs from that. Got a couple comments in the chat here I want to pull up. This one from JSCO Knows on May. May will have to step it up. Tough schedule. Denver, Green Bay, Vegas, Minnesota, Pitt at home, Bears, Lions, Jags, KC, LA, Seattle on the road in 2026. Mm-hmm. I mean, yes, I think that the schedule is going to be, it's not a non-factor, but I just feel like there's a lot that this team has done and shown that they're able to pivot even at mid-game to make adjustments for May and for the defense as well. So not saying that they're not going to, have a cakewalk by any means, but I just feel like this is a really smart organization that's going to know what they need to do to retool, to make adjustments, to continue to improve on what they were doing last year. So
you're probably going to see some bumpier performances here and there than what we saw, which felt a bit more smooth sailing and a bit more like a higher floor last year than what we expected. So I think there's going to be a little bit more of a mixed bag for me in 2026.
Yes. Well, and lots of fun signings as well. Like I mentioned, they've signed a lot of players. Right off the top, I want to mention they did sign Elijah Vera Tucker. I know that he's a favorite of yours. We've also shored up quite a few defensive positions. You've got Draymond Jones at edge. You've got Kevin Byard, safety. Mike Brown, safety. KJ Britt, linebacker. You've got Reggie Gilliam, fullback. You've got Julian Hill re-signing tight end. I mean, you've just got a lot of different signings here that to me show a team that understands that they need to continue to add, but, build strength at the spots where they needed it.
Yeah, Vera Tucker certainly stands out to me for, adding some depth to the interior of the offensive line. But Kevin Byard is certainly a safety that, although a little bit long in the tooth from NFL perspective, still played really good ball for the Chicago Bears. And obviously, he's very familiar with Mike Vrabel's system and him as a head coach during their days together in Tennessee. So I really like the Byard signing. I think it was under the radar quality veteran signing that should fit right in there in New England.
Definitely. All right. I think that'll pretty much do it for the Patriots. We covered a little bit of everything there. Let's talk about the Bills, another fun team that is doing a lot of signings. They signed DJ Moore, and I'm excited to see what he does with Josh Allen. They needed to sign a veteran wide receiver. It was clear they didn't go into last season with a clear-cut number 1 overall, so I'm excited to see a good weapon there that's going to get used. Obviously, Moore kind of went to the background with how many young wide receivers were doing so well for them there in Chicago. So I just feel like this is a really great opportunity for him.
So when it comes to DJ Moore, I honestly want to comment real quick because we're going to get into DJ Moore and how it impacts Josh Allen and maybe DJ Moore's outlook. I kind of feel like today's episode, we've got not one, but 2 Spider-Man memes where we're looking right at it and pointing right at each other, looking in a mirror. And I'm talking about Josh Allen and Drake Maye because I see a lot of similarities in their games. And then also De'Von Achane and Breece Hall being very good, productive fantasy backs, but stranded on very, very, very poor offenses for this upcoming season. When it comes to Josh Allen, though, Sam, you mentioned the lack of a number 1 wide receiver he had last year. He finishes the QB1 2 seasons ago. Same story. QB2 overall. Year before that, QB1. Year before that, QB2. Then 2 years prior before that, QB1. Great players make it work no matter what. And
they do.
Giving Josh Allen DJ Moore is only going to help raise the floor, which the floor can't be any higher. It's already at the ceiling. It's already at the top, Sam. So
yes. The only thing missing is a Super Bowl berth. Like, that is what's missing from the amazing things that Josh Allen has done. we can continue to say, for fantasy purposes, I mean, and we are just here because we love fantasy football. I love me Josh Allen. I will continue to draft him, and I don't care if it's too early to take quarterback. Depending on the league I'm in, I like to just light a match, watch it burn, and take Josh Allen first. I don't care. Sometimes I'll just do it because it's fun. And I like the points because who doesn't love the points you get from Josh Allen? However, from an NFL perspective, things need to start changing in Buffalo so they can make it further in the playoffs. I don't want to jump through a flaming table right now, but I'm just saying something's got to happen because Josh needs to get himself to a Super Bowl. We need to see this man there. He deserves it. He's worked so hard. He's carried his team for so many times, but you need players to back him up. And James Cook had a great season. Yes, DJ Moore is a great ad. I'm excited for this, but you need your tight ends to stay healthy, to be consistent. You just need so many other things to go well. And I want to see that from the Bills. I need to see it.
I feel like Josh Allen is like the 2016 version of Leonardo DiCaprio at the Oscars, where he's the guy that is arguably the best player in the room. But he hasn't won the one thing that is really the true coronation of his entire NFL career that stamps him as an all-time great and really thrusts him into a conversation amongst the titans of the NFL at that position.
Yeah.
That's what Josh Allen is. It's the only thing missing from his resume. It's the only thing in the trophy case that still has a vacant spot. And Josh Allen, the longer this goes on, Sam, I'm certainly not saying that he is a choke artist or anything like that. But when it comes to are things just going to keep getting tighter and tighter and more nerve-wracking every time they get to the postseason and every time they don't get there?
I know.
That's what, and he's got to have it in the back of his mind at this point. I would think, like, damn, no matter how
am I ever going to get there?
No matter how many things I do, no matter how many games I pull out of my rear end with just insane heroics, is it ever going to happen? Is it ever going to be my year?
And will they ever open the envelope and call his name?
Yes. Have that conviction, Sam. But
yeah,
damn. I'm hoping and praying it's his year too.
Is he this generation's Dan Marino, who's just going to go down in history as, one of the greatest to play the game, but made it to one dance and never got the ring? Like, I don't know.
Dan went to one though.
He went to one.
And
Cam Newton went to one.
They got blitzed by a better 49ers team. I don't know, Sam.
I feel like he is.
We're having the same questions about Lamar Jackson.
Yes, fair. Very fair. But, God, I love this game so much because every year, as soon as God, I love football. There's so many great, talented players, and I'm such an over optimist, and I'm like, I want them to win one. I want them to win it. There's only one a year that can go out. There's only one. Just like the Oscars, there's only one Oscar. There's only one Super Bowl that can go out.
Though, to answer your original question about DJ Moore, I do think it's worth saying that Josh Allen's been the QB 1 or 2 overall over the last 3 years, and so for the last 6 seasons, the last 6, Josh Allen has seen his touchdown passes decline. In the last 3 years, he's failed to top 30 touchdown passes, and he's still the QB 1 or 2 overall. DJ Moore should help that. He should get him some reliability on the perimeter that he simply has not had the last couple of seasons. So, yes, DJ Moore is, even though he kind of has declined as well the last couple of years when it got a little bit more crowded there in Chicago, I'm running out of breath because I'm so excited. I want it to happen for Josh Allen, and it should, but I hope so.
Maybe it's this year. I'm not sure. Jesse O knows in the chat saying DJ Moore, love his current value. Can't stop drafting him in best ball. Agreed. 110%. I've got a best ball draft tomorrow. he's on one of my post-it notes that I don't forget. Make sure to try and add him if I can. This one from Josh saying, at least they won't have McDermott blowing defensive play calls. Nice. Very nice, Josh.
Not wrong.
Not wrong. No, not wrong. But also just really hope they can get over the hump. I mean, again, I was really excited for this signing because I do feel like he needs someone who's very consistent. DJ Moore has always been, to me, a very humble receiver, just someone that wants to be on a good team, utilized well. And so I'm excited for him to have this opportunity too. I think that Buffalo is going to love to have him.
It is kind of perplexing, though, that DJ Moore, it never really clicked with Caleb Williams. And I know that Caleb was kind of figuring out the NFL game in his rookie year for sure, and then even figuring out Ben Johnson's system through the first month of the season this year. But it never really clicked with him as the number one guy, and really his best season came with Justin Fields under center.
Yeah.
So
how much better can it be with Josh Allen?
The idea is that we should be in for a career year with DJ Moore, and we've seen what he can do.
Yeah.
When given a clear-cut number one wide receiver role. So on paper, this is great for DJ Moore as a fantasy value. And, if he's my wide receiver too, get him in the 4th round or something like that, I'm all for it in 2026.
Yeah. This last one from Josh on the subject. DJ Moore clicked with Justin Fields, but not Caleb Williams. What does that tell us about Caleb? Well, we're not covering that division tonight, Josh.
Tune in next week.
We already covered them. We're not doubling back. We only go forward. But anyways, they had several other great signings. Really liked this Bradley Chubb signing. I feel like that was a good move as well.
I don't know. I kind of thought
they
overpaid for. I didn't know.
What is money? Who cares?
The trade top that they gave up for DJ Moore. I think Brandon, Sam, if there's one person in the Buffalo building right now that I am looking at, looks a little bit nervous about his job, it's Brandon Beane. And the fact that McDermott got, put on the chopping block, then thrown under the bus about the Keon Coleman pick, to the point where the owner in a press conference had to go and cape for his GM that's sitting next to him that he decided to keep. I don't know.
It's definitely an interesting season for the Bills, that's for sure. They got to continue to make some moves. But I'm excited to see what they do in the draft as well. Is there any player that jumps to the top of your head that you're like, man, I really hope we see them as a Buffalo Bill?
You're talking about in the NFL draft? I'm trying to, because now you're looking at, they gave up their 2nd round pick to get DJ Moore, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. So now we're looking at, if they decide to go wide receiver in round 1, I don't really like Casey Concepcion because they've already got Khalil Shakir, and I see them having overlapping skill sets. Maybe if Denzel Boston falls to him, I'd be good with that. But not really anybody. Then you kind of start getting into the 3rd round and beyond. Yeah,
Knucklebuster in the chat saying Sadiq would be great as a Bill as well. Thoughts?
They just re-signed Dawson Knox, and they've got Dalton Kincaid on the roster. So, Dalton Kincaid ho-hummed his way to a tight end 20 finish, another disappointing year. But, when he's healthy, Kincaid certainly can be a productive pass-catching tight end, which, I personally don't know if Sadiq even moves the needle at all. So I'd rather, if I'm going to try to add to the weapons in this Buffalo offense, certainly I'm going to try to prioritize the wide receiver position, which, guys like Denzel Boston and maybe Omar Cooper Jr. come to mind.
Following up on that comment from Knucklebuster saying Knox and Kincaid suck. So it could continue and improve.
We know what direction Knucklebuster wants to go.
Yes.
Go just make Sadiq a Bill.
Yes, and Josh saying, with the boom in 13 personnel, Sadiq could be fun. maybe
guys
they
are
don't
all
continue.
hype conductors on the hype train for Sadiq to Buffalo. So
Yeah, you know what? It's because everyone just loves seeing, how big and strong Josh Allen is running through people. They just want all of the Bills offense to be built similarly. So like, you know what? Screw it. Throw 3 tight ends out there and then, just maybe DJ Moore to the side and we'll be fine. And, James Cook can sit out a couple rounds and we'll just put nothing but big guys on the field and see how it goes.
by the way, James Cook should really be a late first round pick, in my opinion, at the running.
Yeah, no, 100%. I like that pick too.
Running back 6 overall. Like, again, another big year. Exactly.
Yes.
You're painting the picture very well, Sam, when it comes to this Buffalo Bills offense in 13%.
Yeah. They want it to look like Lord of the Rings, just all, big orcs and Uruk-hai just running across a field. That's all they want. Slack jawed and everything. Just run the ball down everyone's throats every time. Wouldn't that be a picture?
Wouldn't that be a picture? I mean, it's a much prettier picture than the offenses we're about to discuss for the rest of the AFC East.
I would much rather continue talking about these two teams 100%. This last one from Edward saying, what will the Bills do? Coleman needs to be traded. Cut.
What are you get, Edward? What are you gonna get for Keon Coleman right now?
I know that feels like a mid-season cut, honestly.
Oh my gosh! I could you give away Keon Coleman in your dynasty league right now?
No, probably not.
I'm so happy I got.
It would be just one of those tail add-ons to a trade where you're like making trade for other pieces, and you're like, and I'll throw in Keon Coleman, and I'm like, I don't really want to give up a roster spot. Can we just? I don't need it. Like, thank you. I'm good.
I'm good. You keep Keon.
Yeah, I'm good. I don't need it. All right. Well, those were the 2 fun teams to talk about. It's been a fun week. No, we do have to finish AFC East as much as I don't want to. Let's talk about, as you so eloquently put it earlier, we just talked about 2 front-loaded teams. Now we've got 2 islands to talk about, and really the islands are coming down to 2 players. We've got, of the Dolphins, De'Von Achane, just standing there like the one stone in a river that you just watch everything pouring around, and he's just resilient and he's still there. I feel like, I've got him in Dynasty, so I'm going to hold on to him forever, but he is the offense for the Dolphins, and I'm guessing a very sad Malik Willis, who thought he was going to have Jalen Waddle this season, and now he does not, because he is a Denver Bronco.
I'm with you. Yes, De'Von Achane has been the poor guy.
This poor guy.
He's been left behind.
He's just left at the party.
Oh,
you know what he reminds me of? When my parents would forget to pick me up from art class because they were running my brother around to all of his practices, and I'm just standing there outside, and they're like, "Do you want us to call your parents?" And I'm like, "No, they just forgot. They'll get me later." Like, that's kind of what it feels like. He's just standing there, and no one's coming to pick him up. It makes me sad.
Yeah, it's like going to a party and having everybody else has already picked their slow dance partner, and he's got no one to hang out with. There's just no fun. He's just waiting for this thing to end so everybody can go home. He's already planning Cabo 2027. So poor guy. I'm all seriousness though. I'm quick fantasy lens and why I don't think a running back 5 finish that we saw in 2025 is in the mix for 2026. Let's talk about Malik Willis. Let's talk about the receivers, because that's a huge
we have to.
as to why I am concerned about De'Von Achane and his fantasy outlook, despite being a super explosive player and super capable of catching a ton of passes out of the backfield. Yeah. Sam, what we've got with Malik Willis so far in his NFL career, he started 6 games. He's played in 22 and has thrown for just 1,300 yards and 6 touchdowns.
Small sample size, right? That's what that term is.
Very, very, very small sample size, but also there's just not a lot of production through the air. And I know that it looked good at times there in Green Bay, but that's a different offensive-minded coach. That is a different scheme. That is a different allotment of talent around him. than what he's going to have in Miami with Malik Washington, Taj Washington, and Jalen Tolbert. We talked about the collection of
Jalen Tolbert.
mystic
Hey,
boys.
don't forget Tutu Atwell. Don't forget him. He's still there too. How dare you?
I'm rude. But do you see Achane getting to anywhere near 67 receptions this upcoming season?
I don't know. Probably not, but also a big concern I have is a similar one that I'm seeing in the chat. This one from Knucklebuster is saying, unfortunately, Achane is going to be great for about 5 weeks. I'm so concerned that the weight of this offense is going to be so heavy, not on his shoulders, on his knees, that we are going to see him exit early this season. I don't like speaking on injuries early because I think it's bad juju to the fantasy gods.
Yeah,
we're not speaking into. But I have great concerns for his longevity this season without someone to balance this out, because that is an immense amount of pressure on someone who, to your point, he is so explosive, he is so fast, he can't do it all. I mean, another comment on the subject here from Josh saying Achane as a Dolphins feels like when the Panthers ran CMC into the ground, then finally moved him to San Francisco. I won't be shocked if Achane is moved by midseason and turns a team into a legit contender. That I could believe happening, where the Dolphins just drag him into the season and then say, all right, we've full send. We're pretending we weren't tanking, and now we're not pretending anymore, and they ship him out before the trade deadline, and Achane goes to an amazing team where he can be a huge contender. I could totally see that happening.
Seattle or something like that, if Zach Charbonnet
100%
or something like that, right? Yeah, I mean, I would love if that happens, but I'm sure a lot of people had the same feeling about Breece Hall, and it didn't come to fruition, and he got stuck on the Jets for the rest of the season. So
yeah.
Another thing, Sam, I don't want to overlook the fact that I actually trust Mike McDaniel as an offensive mind, being able to dial him up touches in space. And you don't have that anymore. And you don't have a quarterback that wants to, avoid any contact at possible to get the ball out of his hands as quickly. And he'll check it down probably before he should, just so he ensured he didn't get hit. So, and a lot of screens in Mike McDaniel's scheme. So that makes me worried about his floor. Of course, his ceiling is always going to be there because of the big playability, but that pass catching floor really anchored it last year. And I just don't see, that's the bigger concern more than like his durability or volume concerns.
Yeah, I agree. It's all a big concern. This is a really great cherry on top of this conversation before we move on to the Jets. This one from Josh. Bad teams stay bad when they hang on to running backs on rebuilding teams.
Preach, good sir.
Preach.
I hope someone in New York's listening, because we're about to talk about that too.
Speaking of bad teams staying bad when they hang on to running backs, let's talk about the New York Jets. Thanks for teeing me up, Josh. I appreciate it. In news, I'm not going to say better news, but in news, the Jets did sign Geno Smith. They've signed Minkah Fitzpatrick. They signed T'Vondre Sweat. They've made some signings.
They traded for T'Vondre Sweat, but they did that. They traded for him. They added Meatloaf. That's actually one of the best things that I love for the New York Jets is they went and got Meatloaf.
They did. They got a sign. See, look, they did. They made a move.
Shout out Kyle Brandt, once an angry runs scepter winner. T'Vondre Sweat.
There you go. I mean, I don't know. The Jets experiment last year and what has been happening is just hard to get excited about. And when you've got players like Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson that are causing concerns for fantasy managers, what do you do with Breece Hall? Knowing that last year was a year where we were thinking he was going to get traded and he never did. Seems like he's staying. How do you value him going into drafts this season?
So I'm actually a tad more optimistic about the Jets offense than I am the Dolphins offense this year.
What? Optimism? Are we ending this show today with optimism, talking about the Jets? I'm shook.
I really want to pump the brakes just a bit, because I'm not trying to suggest to get excited about this. I'm saying that maybe there is something salvageable Like,
Okay.
you can't salvage the Dolphins vehicle right now. You may be able to get a tire or two off of the Jets offense this year. And the reason being is because at least I've seen Geno Smith for an entire season or multiple seasons look like a decent quarterback there in Seattle. He did. Like, I know it was a train wreck last year, Sam, in Las Vegas. And guess what? It's probably going to be a train wreck in New York this year. But do I think that Geno Smith is capable of peppering Garrett Wilson with targets when they fall behind inevitably, and they will? Yes. Was Garrett Wilson actually a reliable PPR option with Justin Fields under center last year?
Yeah.
Yes, he was. The problem is with Breece Hall. The Jets, this is what I'm a little bit, I don't know what to do with Breece Hall. I think he's going to come at a better price than De'Von Achane, which intrigues me if I'm going to invest or, buy a very good running back on a bad offense, just because he'll be cheaper.
Yeah.
But I still don't trust that offense, even with Geno Smith. If anything, Garrett Wilson, just because of pure volume and probably game script, I'm going to trust him probably a little bit more than I would Breece Hall, who I think can be a victim of game script. So, and there's still some talent behind him as well, with Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis. So I am not very excited about Breece Hall. Probably going to be passing, but maybe a little intrigued if he slips to the 5th round or something crazy like that. But Garrett Wilson, I'm still okay with him being like my low-end wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3, depending on how far he falls.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I don't know how far he's going to fall. In current rankings, he's sitting, what is that? Just outside, what is that? Top 24 wide receivers. I mean, I like the idea of getting him as my wide receiver 2, to your point. If I'm trying to build a roster going into a draft this season right now, if I were targeting him, that's probably where I'd have him at, late round wide receiver 2. I think that'd be a good way to bolster a roster for sure. Again, because if you're going to be falling from behind and you're going to have to air out the ball, that's going to be where points go very quickly. So I think for that, I think fantasy managers can lean on that quite a bit. This note here from Josh saying, outside of hanging on to Breece Hall, I actually like a lot of the Jets' moves this offseason, lots of draft capital, and a lot of one-year deals in free agency. So, and then this also...
And they are loaded in 2027, which is supposed to be a very, very, very deep and talented... it's going to be a crazy draft class. So if Sam, I'm going to ask you, because I don't think that they're going to go quarterback at, what is it, number 2 overall, but they do have a pick again in the teens. I think it's 16, if I'm not mistaken.
This year?
Yeah, they've got 2 firsts this year as well. So
I could totally see the Jets going quarterback this year and quarterback next year.
Would you go quarterback with that second first-round pick? Because I wouldn't. You've got 3 firsts next year, and I expect the draft class for the quarterback position specifically to be much better next year. I think you just take two best players available. And to me, I don't think the next best quarterback, like Ty Simpson, I don't think that he's going to be worth a first-round pick. So
how many seconds do they have?
Solid football players, but those 2 picks, and just, play the quarterback roulette and hope you win the rights to the number 1 overall pick in 2027 and get your pick of the crop in next year's draft.
I mean, I definitely think that there's no way the Jets don't take a quarterback in 2027 at the top. I mean, with the fact that they've got 3 first-round picks in 2027, thanks, Jess, in the chat for that one. But I also wouldn't be shocked if they took a quarterback in this draft. To your point, though, I could see them taking someone a little bit later if someone falls. Yeah. They've got 2nd-round picks as well in here. First round, no, they've got so many other spot points that they need to continue to address. This is a team that's in a heavy rebuild. So I wouldn't be shocked if they do take a quarterback in this draft. To your point, though, I don't think they need to do it in the first round. They can wait and just pad that quarterback room for depth. I think that absolutely makes sense. Really curious to see how they look next year.
You could spend. Oh, sorry, Sam. you could spin the story of any of those like day 2 or day 3 quarterbacks, like, your Garrett Nussmeyers, your Drew Allers, your Carson Becks, your Cade Klubniks, like any of those guys. If you really like one of them and you want to make sure that when the season goes south and you don't want to, you want to get a look at a young guy on the roster that you've had the entire offseason with and the preseason, yeah, I mean, have a guy that you can go to see if you hit gold or something like that. But I wouldn't waste one of those, higher draft capital picks on a quarterback in the first round this year.
Yeah. I understand. I mean, Josh is kind of disagreeing with you here. And Josh saying, if Ty Simpson is there at 16, I would certainly take him. Take as many darts at the most important position as possible. I get that too. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of quarterback lottery for the Jets, and they keep making these picks, and they want to see if they pan out, and they're kind of rolling with lemons.
But here's the thing, though, Josh. I mean, if you take Ty Simpson with that second first round pick this year, then aren't you kind of tied to him? And well, you say no, then you're wasting the number 16 overall pick this year. Like, I think that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like, I get it.
If you believed in Ty Simpson and you're going to give him multiple years, then take him with that second pick, and then just take a bevy of great, prospects at other positions to build around him in 2027. But if you're not 100% certain that he's the guy, then don't take him, and just be patient at the quarterback position because of how much draft capital you have next year. Because then if you take Ty Simpson and he's ho-hum and terrible, but you have the number 1 overall pick and you have a great prospect that you feel better about than Simpson, but you just burn a first round pick on him, then it's the most Jets thing in the world to do. So maybe they'll do it.
There's other teams that have done it, though, to Josh's point here, where the Cardinals tied to Josh Rosen. No, they moved off of him as quickly as you have a bad cold, and you're like, cool, I'm never eating at that restaurant again. I got food poisoning. No, thank you.
That was dumb of them to take Josh Rosen, because he ended up being a wasted top 10 pick.
Some teams do it. Some teams waste picks. I do like this take, though, from Knucklebuster, because some men just want to watch the world burn. They're saying, I want the Jets to trade up this year as a Raiders fan. I like the quarterback class next year better. So Knucklebuster wants the Jets to take Fernando Mendoza at 1. I mean,
Knucklebuster was watching the flag football this past weekend, and he wants to trade back so they don't take Mendoza. They get a bevy of picks, and you bring back in Tom Brady. That's the one place he's allowed to play. Tinfoil hat.
Tinfoil hat time. We're gonna make hats. I want to make a hat. I want to make a really bizarre one. Let's get like a spinny thing on top that's like tinfoil hat time. That'd be fun.
I've got 2 daughters, as Josh said in the comments. Maybe they can make me a tinfoil hat if we're gonna, as we continue through the rest of the off season.
Arts and crafts project. Come on, who says no? Who says no?
Bingo.
And to this final point here, which I think is kind of the main part from Josh, teams aren't patient at quarterback. It's now or never. And if it's not now, they got picks next year. So I could just see them doing it. It feels like a Jets move to be like, yeah, we're going to take a quarterback in the first round, and then in the middle of the season, bench him, and then go with Geno Smith the rest of the season and say, it's fine. We've got 3 picks in the first in 2027. We're still good. Like, some teams just enjoy the chaos.
I get it. I understand it's a quarterback-driven league. I get it, but I wouldn't do it, man. We're gonna.
Only we were GMs, but we're not.
we're opposite ends of the spectrum on this one. But yeah, could I see the Jets burning 2 of their first round picks over the next 2 seasons on a quarterback when you can only play 1? That sounds about as Jets as it gets.
It does, doesn't it? All right. That'll about do it for us here at Sideline Banter. Again, brought to you by Women of Fantasy Football. If you guys haven't already, please like, subscribe, follow everywhere you get your podcasts. We really appreciate it. Plus, we put out fantastic content content over here at Women of Fantasy Football. Make sure you don't miss any of it. I'm running out of words for the end of the day. But I'm excited to talk next week. We're going to be continuing with the AFC. We'll go into AFC West next week. So we'll talk Broncos, Chiefs, Raiders, and Chargers. I am not just delaying talking about my Steelers. We will talk about them right before we go to the draft, Tate, because that's how I want to tee it up. We'll be going to Pittsburgh, so we want to talk about them later. It's strategy. It's strategy. It's not avoidance. It's going to be fine. So yeah, we'll cover the West next week. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will see you next Tuesday. Have a wonderful week.